live. You are looking live. It is 21-16 at halftime in Arrowhead.
On the West Coast.
Gia at Arrowhead Stadium.
GEHA. It's fun to look up what these are.
The GEHA.
It's got. Is it banking, insurance, or financial services?
Sinner is the best MILF hunter. That was an absolute snuffing of the domestic violence.
It's halftime. No, that stays for that's overtime.
Zverev. Yes, just keep that in the bottle.
We'll tuck that in.
The Chiefs are up 21-16.
So we were talking off air a little. It's a close game.
My head's
but it just
everywhere.
Doesn't feel close.
No, it doesn't. But like at the same time, like there was a moment where like the Bills were winning. It was like, okay, wow, holy shit, like things are finally breaking. And then the Chiefs drive the field, score a touchdown, get the ball back with a huge special teams return, another touchdown. And it's like, like the breaks have been going in favor of Kansas City. The energy level has felt very pro Kansas City. Like it feels like they are very sharp. The home field advantage is elevating everyone's performances, and they are in this game and they are very, very vibrant. Whereas the Bills feel a little flaccid at times, and Josh Allen has been avoiding pressure and chucking balls into very well covered plays, and sometimes it has worked out and most of the times it is not. And I kind of think this could go any number of ways, and I only really have eyes for points, but
yeah,
I will listen to any other arguments here.
No, and we talked about 26. That too. It feels bad to.
It's 26.
It is 26. God, I was hoping for sub 24. I wasn't watching live prices. We talked about it a little off the air. We were saying like you want to back Bills, but it's hard to back the Bills. I said you can kind of back the Bills and take the over. It does.
Right, we got to take a deep breath, man. We gotta think about this. This is tough.
So Allen did start erratic. That was a concern for me. Allen looked bad to start. He didn't look good at all. He looked very nervy, which is crazy because he's been here. I don't know. Let's see what our friends at Profit Exchange have. I mean,
I'll tell you this, Ben.
3.5, 56.
In the early going, when they were flashing like Mahomes' all-time playoff record, and you're like, oh shit, he's only ever lost twice, or 3 times or whatever it is, and you're doing the math. You're like 2 of those were against Brady, and one of them was against was in a very fluky loss to the Bengals. You're doing that. You're like, wow, this is incredible. And then you're like, and then you see Josh Allen in that first drive just literally desperately trying to turn the ball over right away. It was like, oh god, this is not going to be good. And then that 90-yard drive was so clean by them. The fact that the Bills bounced back and they're hanging in there actually makes me think this is probably the Bills -1 second half. If the Chiefs hold on for victory, it is either they just stop the Bills at every chance in the second half and win, like you said, going away like 17-0. And then it's so like there's correlation here between Chiefs second half and second half under 26 versus Bills covering 1 and this threatening 26 to the over, I think.
I think if you think the Bills keep it close, there's like 28 to 31 points.
Exactly.
Are we closing the playoffs out? I know we have the Super Bowl, but are we closing it out with a parlay? Just play one or play both parlays. You can lose them both. Do 2 bets, lose them both. And it's funny too. You talk about like everything.
Over's getting bet, by the way. It's up to 26.5.
Everything going the Chiefs' way. The Chiefs have the turnover. The penalty difference isn't big. Obviously the yardage is 29 to 11, but I mean there's been some declined ones too. Obviously, unlike that touchdown, that would have been a big penalty if they would have not caught that touchdown. So I mean it's kind of close in the outside factor stuff, and obviously it's 1-0 in turnovers. The yardage is Kansas City by about 30 yards. I don't know what about this game. I can't quite put my finger on what makes it feel like it's not that close of a game. Maybe it is just the ease of those Kansas City drives where it feels like Buffalo is grinding their drives out, where Kansas City is, just kind of making it happen without even the benefit of having a good running back right now. Hunt is a little banged up and Pacheco looks terrible. I think it might just be,
Well, you know why you feel that way,
Benford
Andy,
on
is
Bar.
because the Chiefs have had the ball 5 times. One of them ended in a fluky fumble, which was Pacheco's fault. Why he's on the field is anyone's guess. And the end of half was another one. The other 3 ended in touchdowns. And so it has been unmitigated success for the Chiefs offense on the field when the Bills have been out there. And the Chiefs get the ball first in the second half. And so if it is more of the same and the Chiefs just making it look easy, then the Bills find themselves in the very unenviable position of having to have some explosive drives and create some turnovers if they're going to stay in this game. So I kind of understand it, what you're saying.
We talk about the under being a little more correlated to Kansas City, but I think there's definitely a scenario where Kansas City just puts together, like, let's say 3.5 of their 5 second half drives are as good as we saw in the first half, and they score 21-24 themselves in the second half. And it doesn't matter what the Bills do. I think maybe we just play Kansas City because the Bills defense, the Bills secondary is in a bad spot right now.
They look terrible.
Rapp is out.
They look
Obviously,
terrible.
it's funny how, like, Benford, I was excited. I'm like, oh, Benford's going to play when they do the stuff 90 minutes before, and then immediately,
bang.
That was like
he didn't get called for what
games,
I thought was a pretty not a clear, but a likely pass interference on Hollywood Brown, and then they got a touchdown on that drive anyway, so who cares? But or is that the drive they fumbled? I forget.
So
who cares?
They're managing Kelsey right now, and I think
so I guess here's the question: is Kelsey playing possum, and is he the decoy, and are they going to have some wrinkles for him in the second half? Because I kind of think they are.
Well, it kind of feels like they're playing a defense right now where they have somebody coming over the top and covering, so he's not finding that spot in the zone. And then Mahomes is smart enough to just know this and find everybody else.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be fine. Like, if they never threw a ball to Kelsey in the second half, they might be fine if they keep giving him everything else.
Hamlin looking like a warm body out there. Let's hope he stays a warm body out there. He does have a giant helmet on, which is fun. So, but yes, the Buffalo defense, there was a Keystone Cops moment where it looked like they were going to be able to sack Mahomes for a pretty big gain. And then I think it was, I forget, one of the Phillips tripped Rousseau, fell down on his face with no one else touching him, and Mahomes scampered for 15. So yeah,
Chiefs money line, or do you want to take the +1?
Well, I'm full on Polish middle if I do Chiefs money line, but
I know.
Do it.
Let's.
You want to do it?
It's hard to separate that stuff, but I think
if we're playing Chiefs money line, I want under.
Try to throw your pregame bets out for these, because
if we're playing Chiefs money line second half, I want to parlay it with the under.
I'm still just worried that they score 21 themselves.
It's 3-1.
Okay, I know, but I think we just stick with it. I mean, we can throw that in too, but I think just Chiefs straight up.
Okay.
I think your Bills stuff is cooked.
Yeah, they look so fucking lost.
I mean, they still have their moments because Josh is so good, but man, that secondary for Buffalo is just anytime. That's where I'm super worried about. Anything with the under right now is any success they have is just going to incentivize Andy to leave the good plays in a little bit longer before starting on his Super Bowl game plan, and it just pushes Kansas City to push the ball more instead of. I wonder how much gadget shit they're going to have with Worthy. Like, his rushing yards has to be. Wonder what that is live right now.
Well, a lot of what we've seen from the Chiefs offense so far has felt very new and not what we've seen recently, which means that they have, like, the brain trust has been in the lab thinking up interesting ways to really get things going. The Bills defense looks totally unprepared for it.
And that's the thing. It looks like they prepared to take Kelsey away.
All right, let's do it. Chiefs second half.
Yeah.
I'm in.
We'll call it.
Money line? Money line?
Straight up.
+117?
Yes.
All right. Okie doke. It is in the books. +117.
Well, that's what I'm wondering about is, like, is Andy, Nagy, everybody else who sits down in those meetings, are they smart enough to know, like, because I think there's plenty of people that don't think the world of McDermott, and they're smart enough to know, like, hey, here's what we put on film against the Houston. We didn't look real good. We might have had to play a little better if not for all the lucky breaks. I wonder what they would have had to bust out in the second half if they wouldn't have just been crazy lucky. Because, you know, if you look at that box score and you break it down, and like we talked about with Cole's stuff where he said, hey, you know, Houston probably should have won that game based on the EPA breakdowns. Like, yeah, but if the game would have been closer, Kansas City probably plays that fourth quarter a little differently as well.
Do you think
but I'm saying, no, but let me get to it here, though. You think, like, they know McDermott well enough because they've played him in the playoffs 3 times and multiple times in the regular season as well, to just kind of know, hey, here's what we put on film. Here's what we put on film this year. This is probably what they're going to try to stop. And we're going to just let them try because we have all this other stuff we can do instead. And I mean, every defense has an answer, just like chess. Like, everything has an answer on like what the best counter move is. And he said, like, if this is what McDermott is going to throw at us to take away Kelsey, let's say, here's all the stuff that's going to work much better, even if we're throwing it to, you know, wide receiver 3 quite a bit or something like that. Or, you know, it is going to have to be a lot of this gadget stuff with running wide receivers and this, that, and the other thing, because whatever they're doing, it's just working well. Feels like it's every time it's 2nd and 2. I don't know. I'm kind of a long way to ask it, like, what your opinion of McDermott is as far as the game plan, because
I think, honestly, my opinion is the Bills defense is a home and road mirage. At home, for whatever it's worth, they play better. On the road, they play terrible. And I don't know. I don't understand that. But, you know, all four of their losses this year came on the road. They were 10-0 at home. This defense looks absolutely fucking atrocious. I don't know if there's an adjustment that fixes it. It could just be, and yeah, all your points are completely fair. Like, all of the wrinkles and everything that the Chiefs are bringing to the table looks new, which is bad for the Chiefs because my gut is the Chiefs didn't unveil their good stuff in the first half. Like, there's probably lots more. Like, and so yeah, I don't know. And Josh doesn't look that good. He looks a little I don't know. He just doesn't look good. He doesn't look sharp. He's making some bad decisions.
I just got a ESPN notification for a WNBA trade. We'll break that down a different time. Things are happening. Yeah. Kelsey Plum traded.
Kelsey Plum?
Kelsey Plum.
Send her where's she going?
3-time All-Star to the Los Angeles Sparks. For Jewel Lloyd. God. The Seattle Storm are trading Jewel Lloyd to the Aces.
What a move by the Sparks.
A lot of stuff going on. A lot of moving parts.
Wow.
Thoughts now that we've kind of been over it? Thoughts on the early game?
It looked like the Commanders. You know what? It looked to me like the Commanders' defense was playing their 4th game on the road in 4 weeks.
It kind of looked like Philly was fine, just taking advantage of everything.
Yeah. The 3 fumbles didn't help, but the Eagles were going to win that game and cover that game by whatever.
When you have when you have an 8 turnover difference in turnover differential from last week, things are going to go markedly worse. I asked this to the Discord. Somebody did disagree about, like, he said next year. I don't know if I was talking about 1 year, I'd disagree. But best NFC quarterback. Let's
it's got to be Daniels.
Like, because I said you can make a case for, like, Goff, a fully healthy Dak, Goff, and like maybe Hurts, but those guys are more.
I think you're talking
because
about
of the offense.
You're arguing about the top of tier 2.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're more experienced.
Stafford.
Stafford is there.
Mayfield.
A lot of that is like those feel more based on their environments, whereas, like, hey, you have McLaurin, that's about it. Like, go have fun. And he's just so, like, he didn't look rattled.
Daniels was awesome. in a
We talked about Josh Allen
lopsided
looking rattled.
loss. He was so cool. I was literally like, as someone who laid Eagles in the second half of the third quarter of that game, I was like, oh fuck, is this gonna get sweaty? It's like, god damn it! After 3 fumbles, like, how is this gonna get sweaty? And sure enough, the Eagles pulled away because the Commanders' defense was more inclined to try to figure out how to dive over the line of scrimmage to stop the.
We might have the actual answer.
Ah.
What if it is just like, what if KOC is seriously
If
just
he's the
like
whisperer,
he's just a QB maker, and like
what if it's
McCarthy is
Purdy?
good.
Yeah, Purdy. Although Purdy's elbow scares me. All right, no. The answer is Daniels. I think pretty confidently, honestly.
Yeah, he was so poised.
Oh my god, we could definitely talk about how awesome Keys was. Is it overtime already? Okay, final thoughts, real quick on Kami's Eagles. The Eagles were going to win by whatever number they felt like it, just based on their offense doing whatever they wanted, particularly on the ground. I don't think we learned anything about the Eagles in that game. You know what my major takeaway of that game was? Like my number one takeaway from that game for the Super Bowl, specifically relevant for the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I'm trying to have it like I didn't have a lot of takeaways on the Eagles either. Like
there's one obvious one, man.
Pass rush showed up. Barkley and gang showed up running the ball. They seemed fine on defense, other than when things broke down, like on that JD5 run where he ran for a touchdown. Like that screams like, yeah, you can't do that next week either. Obviously by next week, I mean in 2 weeks, but like I know another quarterback who's going to take that angle as well and just run in for a touchdown. So they were a little sussy in the red zone. Otherwise, I didn't have a lot of takeaways from the Eagles. What do you got?
That was Tom Brady's best game as a color commentator.
About that. I did. I wrote
that was the
that.
only takeaway that's relevant for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady was good. He was good. Finally, at long last.
Wasn't good.
Yeah,
he was okay.
Here's
where you're wrong. Here's where you're wrong on that.
Go ahead.
He's just been so bad to start the season. He was so bad like 10 weeks ago when he was doing that noise. When he'd make like do that shit. That was so bad that now that he's gotten to like the Mendoza line, we're like, all right, this is good. I wrote he's gotten to the level of not being an active detriment to watching the game with the sound on. Like he's just like, okay,
that was his best game. Yeah, it was his best game. He saved his best for the NFC title game.
It's kind of like when the best refereeing is when you're not talking about the refs. It's the same thing with like, hey, if you're not talking about Brady being awful, he's doing a better job. And yeah, I mean, he did a good enough job this week.
Yeah. He called the Zach Ertz target on the 4th down, which was pretty cool. He went out of his way to circle him pre-snap, which I was like, wow, this is really throwing yourself out there on a limb. And sure enough, that's where Jaden Daniels went. That was pretty nice. But even better than that was
the time management thing was good.
No, I liked how he went out of his way to call out. He snuck in a letting Barkley go. What a giant mistake. I was like,
yeah,
golf clap.
I thought his highlight was the
golf
talking
clap.
about how he did time management with Bill when they were doing the stuff.
Yeah, well, for people like us, that was great. Yes, I agree. I completely agree.
He needs to do more of that, not just the garbage that we normally get.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All that trick play and then he falls down. That was very funny. I do love that he hates the Giants. Like that is the stuff we love about him.
Yes, of course. That there is a human being under the robot persona is awesome.
Like, that's what I mean. Madden and Summerall, like they had these personalities. I mean, even Greg Olson's just great because he's such a good, explainer of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy how Romo did so much of that when he started. And it's like, did they tell him not to? Because
I think he lost his fastball and then he got conscientious about doing it. That was my read, at least, right?
But he needed to stop.
He had a read because he was
everything.
Right. And he had been very good at it when he was very close to the game and he knew generally what the calls were going to be.
He'd prep for those teams. Like
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, when they're here, when they're like this, they do this. Like he had all that in the chamber, right?
Yeah.
And then as soon as that was kind of like a little bit like far away, and he had to work especially hard, it made it a little bit more difficult. And now now he basically just gets to do his Romo thing.
Yeah. He's still fine.
I can't believe I'm cheering for the fucking Chiefs here. I can't believe you talked me into cheering for the Chiefs. I hate this team. I hate this team. I do not want to see them in the Super Bowl. I do not want to see them in the Super Bowl. They are such a bore. They are such a bore. They are such a bore. Yes, they are.
Not. They draw beautiful play. That was a beautiful play to Hollywood.
It was a beautiful play, but it's like it's not. This is not moving the needle for me.
Oh, they missed a face mask. Weird.
They missed
that
a
never
face
happens.
mask.
That was a pretty egregious one.
Yeah. This the Travis Kelce versus the Eagles. Oh God. This is. I'm not excited for 2 weeks of this. I'll tell you that much. All right. Let's go to overtime.
It's Maddie was great. Sinner was great. I didn't bet it. I didn't bet the final.
I'll tell you what,
but I had very little faith that she was going to.
I am actively rooting against greatness. I don't want to see 3 Super Bowls in a row for Mahomes. Not in this day and age. No. There's just so
cheer
many.
For Philly?
I can't cheer for Philly. No way. But this is just going to be a miserable handicap this next 2 weeks.
Oh, especially this drive died on us too.
Yeah.
There's the under. Should have taken it, Drew.
Why didn't you let me put those two
Do you know
together,
how
man?
quick these teams can score if they have to?
I know. The first half was such a slog, and they got so many points. The under was a bad proposition in every way, shape, and form, even at that enormous number. No, we got to talk about Madison Keys real quick, and then go with your top. What was your top 5?
Top 5 Indies, somebody said.
Okay, you think about your top 5, and I just want to give Madison Keys a moment of reflection.
I didn't think my only take. I have a 1-sentence take for you, do yours. I didn't think she could maintain the redlining into the final. I thought that semifinal was good because of how it ended and how much she had to put into that third set. I didn't think she'd have enough for the final, especially against a power player like that. And I was very pleasantly surprised.
Okay. She was flat out awesome. Her whole year to this point has been truly amazing. The fact that she's doing this in her year 30 season is also like mind blowing. She absolutely found way. I mean, she found amazing, impressive. Some of the head-to-head win versus Iga, I thought was Iga being a little bit distracted and a little lost at times. She certainly wasn't the razor sharp player we saw in the previous rounds. But the fact that Keys at the death was able to break back, and then in the tiebreak was able to come back was pretty spectacular. And then her performance in the final was like all time. I still can't believe it. Like specifically the championship, the second championship point where she ultimately won, her return from on Sabalenka's serve, which was diabolical. Her return was like one of the best returns I've seen in the women's game. Like Sabalenka looked at it and was like, how the fuck did this get back? How did she hit that on the line? Like she was like, what do I do? And I kind of can't believe that Keys was able to produce that level at this point in her career against a player of that quality.
That's what made me the happiest, because I felt sad. I'm like, this might be the last time she ever, maybe she builds on this, but she's 30 and there's so many good young players. And every year, like 2 more 15-year-old Czechoslovakian girls are suddenly like top 20 players. Like it's hard. I'm like, this might be her last Grand Slam final ever. Like she might never get this far again, and it sucks that she has such a big. And so, I was pretty happy. And obviously, if I don't have financial stake in it, I'll root for the Americans.
I had
because it's been hard to root for American men's tennis.
My price on that match was Keys plus 285, and when I originally saw the market, I was like, I guess I don't have any action here, but I put some feelers out there at 285 and I ended up getting a pretty good fill there. And so then I was like, oh shit, I guess I gotta get up in the middle of the night and watch this match. And the first set was awesome. The second set was like, oh shit. And then that third set was absolutely that was some of the most like appointment television tennis I've seen in a long time. The fact that they stayed on serve and they were that it was so fucking close, and then Keys was able to produce that at the death was just awesome. It was so great. Just a great final, great title. This will be very, very long memory of this one for Madison Keys, who I learned is married to Bjorn Frantangelo. Did you know that? I saw him in the box. I was like, what's Bjorn Frantangelo doing there? I was like, that's her husband? What?
That's
I knew he like coached her at one point, like a couple of years ago. And I was like, I totally lost track of whatever Keys was going on in her personal life. But yeah, Keys and Frantangelo.
Born Fran. That's a real Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh my god!
That's a name I haven't heard in some time.
Do you know Bjorn? Did you know Bjorn Frantangelo was named after Bjorn Borg?
I guess it checks out.
His dad was a tennis guy, and he was like, "I want my kid to be a tennis player."
It's like Tennis Sandgren was named after a tennis ball.
Yeah, and that's not true. No, wait, didn't Tennis Sandgren have like a tennis? It was tennis related.
No, it was like his grandfather or something was named.
It like wasn't tennis related.
It was like Tennessee or something. It was a shortening of that. That one just funny.
Oh, okay. Well, Bjorn Frantangelo was named after
Bjorn Frantangelo.
And
said that name. It's like Buddy the Elf.
He was repping Viore too. You saw the Viore hat. I was like, oh wow, geez, my god,
such good apparel.
But yeah,
I'm repping the NFL.
Is Paula Badosa married?
No.
She is a free spirit. She has most recently spent time with Mr. Mr. Stefano Tsitsipas. Although the degree to which she is succeeding, Tsitsipas is failing, makes me kind of assume that that's over. Tsitsipas was famously at his brother's dental exam on the day that Paul Badosa punched her ticket to a semifinal instead of being there to support her in person. So I guess Paul Badosa is probably flying solo. She has very bi vibes to me. So you have a lot of work cut out for you if you want to try
that was always my
work your way into Paul Badosa. Sorry.
We're gonna really get in the weeds here, but that was always my feeling on Muguruza.
Oh, absolutely. She ended up getting married to a dude.
No, I thought
100%, 100%
other team.
100%. I could not agree more.
That was one of my favorites.
Yes, she was another Amazonian warrior, as Sabalenka is an Amazonian warrior. Man, when she was at her peak of her power, she was diabolical as well. Women's tennis, awesome. We got a good rest of the season. There's a lot of women that are playing really well right now.
All-time favorite women's player, like of any. It doesn't even have to be like to bet to root, like just your favorite.
Sabalenka's first Australian Open title, I think, was my single biggest women's tennis win. So I have a little bit of a soft spot there.
Okay, mine's Danish.
Caroline Wozniacki. Wozniacki. Are you serious?
I loved watching her when she was good. And she got a slam.
Her game is so subtle, though.
Maybe I enjoy it subtle.
Yeah, you like the quiet ones. Okay. The women's final was substantially better.
Yeah, it is Rory.
The men's final was a skip. It was a big fat skip. Let me think.
Yeah, the highlight of the men's final was somebody razzing Zverev during his trophy presentation from the stands. Did you catch that?
He was okay. Real quick on Zverev, he was so phenomenally terrible in the early going against Djokovic, who was literally an absolute like tissue paper version of himself. Yeah. And we were watching Zverev, and you're just like, what the like? You're gonna lower your level for like to this point for what reason? That I was just like, oh, it was such a clear and obvious vote of no confidence. I came out of that match so mad, and as like kind of was a running theme of my Australian Open betting performance, like after I saw Djokovic in like the first game, I was like, oh, okay. Like this match is over. Like there's zero chance he wins this. And his live market was still like just pretty similar to the closing number. And
Sucks about, is there a single live market that pays out money lines? I was going to say every place I
got peanuts staked on first set bets, and I got big numbers on 3-0 set handicap, game handicap, money line, everything, and all of it voided. I was so fucking mad. And I knew it was coming too. Like I knew it was coming, and it was still just like just like you're watching, you're like, oh, maybe he is going to try to gut it out and lose 1-6 after he loses this tiebreak, and no, he just white flag immediately. Nice little drive here by the Bills, I gotta say. What do they do if they score a touchdown? Do they go for 2? Probably, right? That's gonna matter for those of us who played Kansas City money line second half.
Yeah, it will, won't it? They're gonna turn this over. It feels like.
Are you ahead of me? Are you ahead of me?
No, I'm not. Although my Paramount Plus
I'm a million years behind. Paramount Plus is the same. My Paramount Plus is a million years behind.
It is slow.
It is so far behind.
I always forget. So I don't like, if I want to watch the Fox games, usually I'll just stream it on the computer on like a streaming service, or I'll have the Red Zone on anyway during the season. But like once playoffs come, I kind of got to watch Fox, and I don't have anything.
Fourth and goal from the one.
So I keep getting these Fubo 1 week subscriptions, and I'm like, God damn it, the Super Bowl's on Fox.
This is going to be a turnover on down. Andy, turnover on downs, turnover in the end zone, which puts the Chiefs to the 20, or touchdown.
Oh, I think you just push the Josh button, don't you? Tonight we'll let the Josh do the talking.
You tell me. I'm giving you 30, third to third.
I think Josh scores. I think it's a Josh Allen score.
A Josh Allen touchdown.
A Josh Allen score on 4th down. We'll know here momentarily.
I think it's going to be turnover on downs.
They have really stiffened up down here, haven't they?
They sure have. That third down running tempo was terrible.
I kind of want them to score, but I think if they score, the rest of the game is better. As far
obviously,
as a person who's watching this, he can talk, I can sing. Are you gonna time out here? What are we doing? Cook and I was wrong. It was Cook. Oh man, now they've poked the bear. They're gonna lose by 100 now.
Well. We're behind on the second half by all accounts. The third quarter is almost over. What the fuck?
Oh, I'm not.
This thing got.
God, I can't believe they ran. I just saw the play. I can't believe they ran a sweep on that.
I can't believe it either. That was a terrible play call. I know that results-based people will be like, "What a play call!" That was extremely
2-point conversion. Was not good.
That should not have been a touchdown. I cannot believe he got that. Oh my God. Oh, in the slow motion. Oh man. Woo. That really, hats off to James Cook. That was all Cook. God damn. Wow. I still can't believe Alcaraz lost to Djokovic either. In fact, I don't even want to talk about it.
All right, really I gotta run.
All right, man.
The wife wants me to pick some stuff up from.
Have a great rest of your championship Sunday. It has been I've had a phenomenal weekend.
It's been a fun day.
If regardless of whether I get Polish middled or not, I'm in a great spot. So have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll talk to you on Wednesday when we do the divies.
We'll do some divies.
Tune in for the divies.
The divies.
At long last, the divies.